What to expect
when you're not expecting cancer.
What are we talking about today, Kate?
We're going to talk about a few things that are sometimes hard to talk about. How your healthcare is going. And if you have questions or concerns, sometimes it's really hard to talk to your oncologist or your family physician or trust your own body and your feelings. Like, am I just 40 and my back is going to hurt anyways? Or is there a new tumor? So it's hard. And when you're in that little room, I find the days that I go to the hospital are always a little nerve-wracking.
You wait so long.
And more questions pop into your head, and the other questions leave your head, and then you're hungry and you're tired, and then you're worried about your kids back home or what has to be done still for tomorrow, and you haven't had any time at home to do anything.
And then they walk in and you've forgotten every question you were going to ask.
You just kind of sit there and say yes. But personally, me right now, I'm on a new chemo drug, and I'm feeling like it's not working. I'll know I have a scan.
You've been right about these things.
I have unfortunately been right about bad health things when things are not going right, and I just, So I've already talked to him, and we've changed up some things, and I have a CT scan coming up. So I'm very lucky that I have a good relationship, and I can say something's not right. Or even my husband, if I'm too ill, my oncologist will speak directly to him and figure things out. So
what do you do when you don't have a good relationship?
Well, I changed. I took myself.
You fired your oncologist.
I fired my oncologist, who won the Order of Canada at the exact same time. But we were not communicating well, and I think if you don't have good communication, especially in stage 4, because really all we're doing is trying to extend and keep us as comfortable as possible for as long as possible. It's all the quality of life, not necessarily quantity. So
we hope for quantity, but
we
it's
hope
not
for quantity.
The main priority.
So I did fire my first oncologist. Christa, what have you had come up in your treatment throughout the whole thing that's been a real struggle or challenge, but you got through it?
Yeah, I think the one thing for me is just different personalities.
Yes.
So I interact with a lot of different oncologists. I have one that's treating me for, it's kind of like a daily chemo that I take.
Mm-hmm.
I have two pain and symptom oncologists, and they're treating me for symptoms in terms of alleviating the symptoms, alleviating pain. And then I have a radiation oncologist that treats my brain.
Yep.
So right now I'm interacting with 4 doctors, and everybody's different. Everybody has their own personality.
Yep.
So figuring out their personality, how they communicate, how I can communicate with them can be challenging sometimes. They're all amazing. They're all great. But it's a challenge sometimes. Some people are more...
organizing the appointments. So if you're taking a day at the hospital anyways, you want to try and stack your appointments if you can.
Yes.
On the same day, so that you're not there for 40 minutes one day, 3 hours tomorrow.
And then they are figuring me out too. And
it becomes a relationship.
I find it easier to advocate when I know, okay, this is the person I have to ask questions. A lot of questions to. Or, no, this is the person that if I go in not prepared with tons of questions, they'll be asking me questions.
Right, which is great because sometimes, as we said, you've been sitting there for 3 hours and your mind has gone to mush, and you'd rather be at home having your nap at that time.
Yeah.
So
or the oncologist I know, this person's really busy, so this person may forget something, or the time might be short. And so I have to remind that person, even though I feel like I'm nagging, but I have to remind them a little bit.
Have you ordered my scan? I know it's, around that time that I'm supposed to be having a scan. Not that I want a scan, but it's been 3 months. Yeah. It's hard to ask questions of an oncologist or a family physician, but remember, you actually know your body. You know what's different or not right or off, and
you're in the driver's seat.
You are in the driver's seat, and ask and change. There's so many different chemo drugs and different treatments out there. If something is not making quality of life good for you or comfortable, change it up. Try something different. And if worse comes to worse, you go back to that original drug and you just find a way to deal with the symptoms. That's the other thing. Like, you can end up taking chemo drug, but then you have to take all these other drugs for all the other symptoms, like an anti-nauseant, anti-seizure.
Yes.
What's the other one? steroid, like there's all these other things.
You're taking other drugs, which come with their own side effects.
So we get that. Again, Christa and I are not medical doctors or anything. We're just talking from the patient's experience here.
Yes.
For me, the best thing for me is sleep. The more sleep I get, the better I feel.
It's hard to sleep on steroids, though.
It's hard to sleep on steroids, and it's hard to sleep with kids.
Yes.
Because putting them to bed takes like 3 hours some nights, and then by the time they're finally in their beds, you're kind of riled up, right?
Yeah.
And then, bing, 6 a.m., Mommy!
Or the time change happens, and it's
the
5 a.m.
Yes. That was us this morning. But we were on time for school, so hey, it all works. We get how hard medication is. We get how hard it is to do all these doctor's appointments. So if you have, as Christa was listing off, radiologist, oncologist, pain management, if you have that many specialists, try and find out which day of the week they're all in clinic, is what they call from your clinic.
Yeah.
And try and do them all on the same day so that you don't feel like your job is cancer. Monday through Friday, because that's what it feels like most days anyways for you.
Yeah. And my team of oncologists is great because they actually do meet together and communicate, and their notes that they swap
are
fantastic. Great. It doesn't always work that way for everybody. That there's miscommunication, or their team
or they've never met
different things.
They've never met.
What about family? What about advocating for yourself with family or friends?
And friends. Sometimes we know that it comes from your heart and you want to help and you want to help and you want to help, and we want to receive your help always. But sometimes it can be too much.
It's too much, yeah.
Or I understand everyone's coming from a caring, loving place. But at the same time, there's some days that I just need to be fully on the couch, not answer any texts or emails, and that takes a lot of strength and energy to do all that. And some people, my friends know if I haven't answered texts and stuff, it's not because I'm ignoring them. It's probably because I left my phone upstairs and I'm not walking up a flight of stairs to get it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the energy today. And, if somebody really needs me, they'll knock on my door. or call my landline, because I still have a landline.
Yeah, my cousin was actually saying recently, she's like, if I haven't heard from Christa in a week, then I start to get concerned.
Yeah.
Because my aunt was saying, I haven't heard from her. I just sent her a text yesterday. And my cousin was like, no, don't worry about it. She's fine. Wait a week.
Yeah. And don't take offense. Don't be offended if you come and I say, okay, thank you, and I go back to my couch and don't invite you in for a cup of tea or coffee like I used to, because I don't have it. I don't have it in me.
Energy to entertain.
No. Not at all. But some days I do. And some days, somebody will text me and be like, oh, I'm at Starbucks. Can I grab you a coffee and stop by? Absolutely. Come on by.
And even though I do speak up for myself quite often.
Yes, you do. You definitely do.
I'm a big advocate for myself. It's still hard. It's not that it comes naturally or easy to me. It's still hard to do that.
Yeah, and you feel guilty because you might be hurting someone's feelings, or somebody's doing something nice and you're kind of being, I don't want to say bitchy, but it could come off that way.
I always feel like it comes off that way for me.
I've never taken a bitchy anything you've said, but I'm in the same seat as you, so I know what it feels like, or similar feelings.
It takes a lot of resources to even structure the way you're speaking in a very nice, diplomatic way. And sometimes you're just like, okay, stop that. That's just way too much for me.
Now, the other thing that's hard to deal with is when we get emails all the time. Love the emails and the Facebook messages.
Yes,
keep them coming. We get a lot of advice, a lot of natural advice. And as I've said many times, yes, I do a lot of naturopathic stuff, but everything comes first medically for me. So that's the other tricky little tightrope to walk, is when people are constantly telling you about STI tea and hydrogen peroxide baths is the one that I've just been told. To soak in hydrogen peroxide. There's a special combination. And one of my tumors...
I won't even swish it in my mouth. I'm so afraid of it. I'll use it to clean, though.
So that's exactly it. So I'm like, what is that what the idea is? Cleaning the inside and the outside of the body?
Yeah.
So
I'll use it for my stove.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I use it for my sink.
My gut or something.
So it's hard sometimes to tell someone, oh, actually, I've tried that, or say, I don't think that's the right combination with my treatment I'm on right now, is what I usually say. But maybe, so the treatment I'm on right now, I don't want to add anything else to, just to know that my treatment is working and it's not this, but maybe in the future I'll try it, or it's something that I'll look into. I'm always very polite and diplomatic about it, but I try to be.
I have trouble with that. I am a very diplomatic person, but I have trouble because I've heard it so many times.
It's true. You do hear the same thing again and again.
Because I remember it's when I failed my vision test, and the optometrist, was trying to give me advice about what documentary to watch.
Oh.
And I was like, no.
Like knives over forks, if you eat well, which I was eating almost all organic because of the kids, and I was eating almost all plant-based, very, very little meat. I mean, people are going to tell you everything.
I stopped her, though. I was like, no.
Good for you.
I was like, no. Because I just found out I failed my vision test.
Yeah, and I don't want,
timing was terrible. But I was like, no, don't speak to me about that.
Yep.
I don't want to hear about that.
Yep.
And no, it wasn't diplomatic. It wasn't polite. But it sent a strong message saying,
good.
Nope, I can't hear that right now. Don't try and give me advice.
Yep. It's hard. Cancer is hard. Doesn't matter stage 1, stage 4.
Yeah.
It blows your life up.
It does.
It blows your life up.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. And hopefully it's only for a year and a half, and then you go back once a year.
For treatment.
Yeah. I mean, out of active treatment after a year, and hopefully you're back to work, and you get your hair back and everything else, and you actually get to step back into your life, but it's in a new way. Cancer will forever change you. Forever change you. Yeah. New normal. And these are hard things. And we get it, because we're living it.
I'm glad we can have this conversation with you.
Yes, and hopefully we've helped people the next time their oncologist says something and they can say, wait, I don't think so. But just mainly be an advocate for yourself is what we wanted to get across today, is advocate for yourself. If you're not feeling well on a certain drug, if you're not having a good communication with your oncologist, you can change oncologists. Yeah. This is an awful experience to go through cancer and treatment. If you don't have a good relationship, these are not supposed to be your best friends by any means, but if you don't have a relationship where you find yourself trusting, believing, completely open and honest about every, symptom and side effect, it's not the right fit.
Nope.
Change.
Nope.
Definitely change, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's other oncologists that might be a better fit personality-wise with you, or the style
communication.
That they work. Yep.
Communication is key, but so I definitely say advocate for yourself if you're not having a good connection with your team, and remember, you're in the driver's seat of your treatment.
Your oncologists are the passengers.
Yes.
You are the driver.
They're the ones with the map, and they've been on this course before, so they know where to expect things and not things and things like that. But you are in the driver's seat.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you. And we'll be back soon with more, hopefully, wonderful and helpful tips.
Bye.
Bye.